Okay, thank you, Jillian. Well, as the debate over abortion continues in courtrooms all across our country, it is now hitting a fever pitch at the University of Chicago's campus. Hundreds of students protested a bill that would prohibit student fees from funding abortions.
The bill then failed the student council vote by a score of 15-1. Our next guest authored the pro-life bill and was the only one to vote for it. Joining us now is University of Chicago student Brett Barbin. So, Brett, there's a set fee for student life costs. When did you find out that some of those costs would go to abortions?
Hi, Brian and Ainsley. Thanks for having me on.
Good morning.
Good morning. At the University of Chicago, we pay a student life fee every year as part of our tuition that's supposed to go to recreational, educational, social, and cultural activities on campus. A portion of those fees go to student government, and our student government decided about a year ago that it wanted to use those student life fees to fund abortions. Just a few weeks ago, the incoming president of our student government said that on Facebook, abortions are a good thing and that her committee supports and funds abortions proudly. And several concerned students reached out to me that their student life fees could be actually going towards funding abortions, and that would be a violation of their conscience. So they asked me as a member of student government to draft some legislation in order to address the situation.
Brett, why are there abortions happening on your campus?
Well, I'm certainly there's abortions happening on campus, but the thing is this committee, which was set up to fund them, actually hasn't funded any abortions, even though it's been running for over a year. And so they take both student life fees from our student government, these are financially coerced from students, but also they take private donations. And so the question is really, why are they continuing to use our student life fees, which only make up about 10% of their total funding, in order to fund abortions when they have the rest of the 90% in order to use?
So you put this bill forward, and not only did you not get any support on the council, you got protested. In what way?
Absolutely. I got protested. Certainly within the room, there was a relatively civil discussion about my legislation, although some members of student government reiterated that abortions are a good thing, abortions are amazing. But online, I received death threats. People were calling for people to track me down and beat me up. There was a student who was egged outside of the room. And it really was unfortunate to see on a campus like the University of Chicago, where we have such strong free speech and free expression principles.
You know, if you look at what's happening in New York, you're allowed to get an abortion all the way up until the very end after the baby's born. If you look at what's happening down south in Alabama and in the Midwest, the rules are very, very conservative. The laws are very conservative. Are you thinking about moving and leaving and going to a school in the South?
No, I'm graduating in a few weeks, and actually I considered my legislation to be a compromise, seeing as it gives 3 exceptions in order to use our student life fees, just like this Hyde Amendment, which was passed at the federal level about 43 years ago and is the consensus in our society that if we have people who are so passionate about the issue on both sides, that those who believe it's a violation of their conscience shouldn't be financially coerced through their tax dollars to be funding abortions. It's the same thing on campus where we're just trying to go to we're trying to go to school to get an education. We shouldn't have to be violating our conscience in this way.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, Brett, you can continue to fight. Good luck in your graduation in a couple of weeks. Thanks for sharing your story.
Thank you, Brett. We did reach out to
Thanks so much, Brian.
You got it.
We reached out to your school, Brett, for a statement, and we did not hear back from them.
All right, all eyes on Nancy Pelosi after Robert Mueller's public statement. Will she or will she not look for impeachment proceedings to go forward like many are pressuring her to do?
Former House Speaker